everybody. So before we get into today's video, I am just cutting right in before we start to say I started filming this video this morning thinking that we were going to be filming an update video. It was going to be about us getting our fencing set up for the garden by renting an auger and drilling holes and putting in fence posts. That was going to be the topic for today's video. Instead, we are switching gears here, and it's really going to be is renting an auger right for you, for your situation, for your homestead? We're going to find out if it's right for us. So with that, let's get into today's video. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Reachin Reverie. This morning, the sun has just crested over the mountain behind me, and we're getting a pretty early start here today. Josh, he actually already has run into town to grab a few things, and today we are going to continue working on the fencing for our garden space this year. And we are so excited. In the days after Josh has been getting off of work this week, he has been loading up his dump trailer and going to our local resource that's been giving us free compost. And our goal was to get 21 yards of compost. That would have been enough compost to fill our entire gardening area this year. And this is what he's come up with. Now, just for reference, I am 5'7", and this pile is taller than I am. Look at that. That is a lot of poo. So he figured, we did some math, if he got 10 loads in his little small dump trailer, that this would equal the 21 yards that we needed. And the gentleman that was loading this up, he wasn't giving us even bucket loads full. He was giving us very generous heaping bucketfuls that were potentially just a little bit over capacity on that dump trailer. And by a little bit, we did some math, and we are estimating that we probably have somewhere between like 35 and 41 yards of compost behind me. So we're not going to turn away free poo. This compost is going to go to use. But what that means for me is that I can maybe do a little bit more gardening this year than I had even dreamed or hoped for. We definitely will be using this in our gardening spaces. If we have too much for the garden, maybe that just means I need to grow more things, get more plants, right? That's good plant math, I think. So we're not going to be working with the compost today. I just wanted to show you guys a little update on our pile. It's substantially larger than the pile we saw last weekend. And this, like, every day I came home from work, I just saw the pile getting bigger, and it gives me so much joy to see my future garden in the making right here. Evie, did you give up on me? I talked too much about the poo? She's like, yeah. Some walk we got. We just sit down. She's so patient with me. She knows how distractible I get. And if I stop walking for like 25 seconds, she goes and lays down. She's like, yeah, you're going to be a while. You're going to look at some rock or some plant or something. She's like, I just want to walk. Oh, we had some hogs come through here last night. Evie, you're stepping on their tracks. Look at that. That is a big hog. They got bigger feet than you, Evie. You're a big dog. Josh ran into town this morning to go rent an auger for my fun projects here on our little homestead. So what we have here is we have the four corners of this gardening space already cemented in with these posts that have been leveled. And what he did for the first post, so we have the four corners and then two additional posts that he's already gotten in, he has hand dug using this rock bar right here and his bare hands. And so that is, you can imagine, going 3 feet down into a hole that's at least a foot wide. It's a lot of manual labor and effort, and we have a lot more holes to dig as designated by these red X's. So yesterday we put up our string line again, which we have here, this little pink line. And right now it's laid flat so that the deer and hogs wouldn't trip over them. But we pull them tight on these stakes that are in the ground. And then we measured off of the poles that are cemented in all the way around the perimeter of this bed and marked off where we need to put more of this steel pipe in. And we are going to have our 10-foot gate right here that's going to swing out. Then we'll have a pole with a kicker is what they call it. And then we'll have an H right here to support, and then another kicker coming off here. And let's go into this garden space. You can see we have more kickers, and then the halfway point will have some supports, and then it'll be kind of mirrored on the other side with a gate on the far corner. And what really excites me is when I saw where my entrance gate is gonna go yesterday. Más o menos right here. So one day, imagine this is gonna be my 4-foot gate, and then it'll have supports going off either side. We're gonna be walking into the garden right here. Then we might be ready for the fencing. We are gonna have an 8-foot perimeter fence around this garden to keep large critters like deer and hogs out of this gardening space. As you can see, they were walking right up next to our gardening space. We have tracks all through here where they definitely would come through the garden if we didn't have it fenced. So we're gonna be working on that. Then maybe in the weeks to come, we'll be building the gates. Josh is going to be building the gates himself from scratch is what we're thinking, on the 2 10-foot gates on either side and the 4-foot entrance gate over here. And then once it's all securely enclosed, I guess that's when the real work begins, and he's gonna turn it over to me and we're gonna start gardening in this space. Are you excited? Are you excited for the garden? Yeah. She's like, oh no, is it plants? Am I gonna... She gets bored with my plants. Do you get bored with my plants? Yes. Ooh, dusty dog. Look at all that dust coming off of you. So I'm just waiting for him to get back. Guess I'll start making some breakfast for us, and then we'll get to work. Evie, are you ready to work? Are you ready to get to work? So Josh is back with the auger rental, and right now he is mechanicking it because it doesn't want to start. It looks like the fuel was left on by the last person who rented it, and so the spark plug is flooded. So he's tinkering and seeing if we can't get this thing to run. That's the spark plug thing?
It's a spark plug, that thing.
There it goes! Woohoo! Goal is 3 feet. We're at 2 feet. So
yeah, and see, Geez, that's not even 18 inches. 14 inches.
14 inches. That one's a little deeper.
This one went pretty quick. This one's 18 inches.
Yeah, I bet you we have a little rock patch in this corner. We're hitting rock, which we've never hit any rock before. So this auger that we rented, I don't know how much cut off because I think my camera went out on me, but this auger that we rented, it's drilling the holes really well, but it's failing to remove the dirt that it dug. I don't know if it's user error or if it's just not doing it for us, but basically we loosened up the dirt and now we're hand digging out. The other thing is we want 3 feet holes, and this is 3 feet from tip to connection point, but we're hitting some rock at about 18 inches. So he's got the rock bar to loosen up the rock, break it up, so we can get all the way to 3 foot. So our 2-hour project just turned into a all-day project, as they usually do. I think we figured it out. So we're new to augering, and apparently instead of trying to like reverse it to get the dirt out, you just stop it while it's full of dirt and lift it up and then set the dirt off to the side. And then we're not having to hand dig out as much. We're just making Josh lift more all at once, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free labor.
Yeah, that's my, well, it's free labor, but I'm gonna make you dinner. So here, why don't you take a break and I'll do that, since you did all the heavy lifting a minute ago.
I want to find this rock, so if I can get this rock out, maybe we can keep on going.
Yeah.
You notice your hands are quite a bit smaller than mine.
So I should just make you do all of it, because you're more efficient with your big hands and stronger back.
I prefer not. I prefer not.
No, you're doing awesome. But that's much better. The way we did the first 3 holes is we loosened it with this and then hand dug out the entirety of those 3 holes. While we were doing that, we did a little bit of looking into how the auger works and realized that you can spin it to loosen it up and then stop it and then lift it up with all the dirt packed in there, and that gets a lot of it out for you. It looks like we did hit a big old rock slab, so we're needing to get down to the rock, break it up with the rock bar, and then keep on going. Got it? So he had to get the rock bar and knock out, there's a big rock down in there so that we can auger down the rest of the way. Now, since we got most of the dirt out, let's hand dig out the rest. Wow, I feel like I got a head start. as we move farther down, we expect to get less and less rock. So hopefully the digging should get easier. So it's getting easier as we go, the farther down we come. It seems like just right there on that edge of our fence line that we're building, there's a rock shelf. And so this last hole we dug, there's like no rock in it, and that auger went in and out like butter. So he's been doing most of the augering. I've been doing some of the scooping, but in this hole we did get far enough down that I can no longer reach into that hole. So we're putting Josh back to work again. He thought he got to get a break, but that's all right. We're gonna build this fence. He's gonna build me a garden, and then I'm gonna grow food. So I'll pay him back.
We're making it consistently 30 now.
Yes, that's awesome.
This sitting on the ground is 30.
Okay, so we're going down about 30 inches with the auger. We were hoping to get down to 36, but you know, 30, that's a pretty good depth that we don't have to dig by hand. Yeah, that's gonna be the entrance. He's got 1 foot sized feet. He can step off things. Well, okay, ready to do another one? So just a few more holes to dig. Is how many?
9.
Okay, 9 more holes to dig. But I think we're kicking butt. It's been a very, very rewarding and also pretty labor intensive day today, but I just stepped on mesquite. I'm gonna check my shoe. That went into my foot. Okay. I'm gonna go change my shirt and wash my face, and we're gonna run into town for a quick errand and come back and finish the rest of the holes this afternoon. So we'll see you guys in a second, and for us it'll probably be an hour. All right, hang in there. I bet my foot is bleeding. And that is where that mesquite just went into my foot. Got me good. Whew. Ha ha ha. So we're back at it for the second half. We have a game plan. Josh is going to auger the holes, and then when he moves on to the next one, I'm gonna try to scoop out all of the loose dirt in the bottom so we can get it as deep as we want these holes to go, as the auger's about 3 to 6 inches shy on each hole of how deep we want the holes to be. So we dig the final few inches by hand, and then I'm just gonna go behind him and keep digging until we get done. So we're starting at that end where all the rock is so that it can get easier as we go and we finish this. Right now I'm just gathering all of our material. Got my water, my gloves. I also got a scoop to help me scoop dirt out of the holes, and then my protection from the cactus. Let's see where he's at. Get this second half done. It started off pretty chilly this morning, but the high today is actually 72 degrees, which is unbelievable as it is February 1st today. And look at this, short sleeve shirt. It makes dreaming about spring feel that much closer. And a few hours later, just like that, we have finished using the auger with our 17th hole being dug. Now, the last little cleanup that we have to do is just to get down and hand scoop out the bottom so we can get to those lower, couple inches deeper than the auger can reach, so we can have our holes the depth that we want them to be. So Josh is gonna start on that one. I'm gonna work on this one, and then we just have 2 left to clean out, and then we will be ready for concrete and steel, which we're gonna do tomorrow. As you saw, the auger doesn't eliminate manual work, but it can be an effective tool to assist you on your backyard projects. In our case, it took what would have taken us about 45 minutes per hole and a lot of physical effort, and brought us down to about 5 to 10 minutes per hole with a whole lot less effort. You decide what's best for you, but we do hope that this video helped to demonstrate what renting an auger looks like before you give it a go. It does take a measure of physical strength to operate, but so does hand digging holes as well. There's a lot of other auger options available, such as handheld augers or auger attachments for your tractor. There's also a lot of different factors involved as well on deciding if renting an auger is right for you as well. You have to take into consideration your soil type, as a lot of rocks in your soil, especially big rocks, can inhibit the way that that auger rotates in the ground. We've noticed in our ground, even though we really don't have a lot of rock, there's a couple of holes that we dug that are sitting right on like a rock streak where we did have to stop and get the rock bar out, break up those rocks, and then we were able to bring the auger in and finish the job. That's actually what Josh is doing behind me. Even though we've already dug all 17 of our holes, there were 2 holes up at the front where all of the rock is that we actually did have to go back, and he's breaking up some rock and trying to get a little bit deeper in those holes. All of our holes, we are shooting for them to be 30 to 36 inches deep, and there were 2 holes that we were only able to get 24 inches deep with the auger because it was hitting rock, and that was as deep as it was allowing us to go. So taking your soil into consideration may really help you in deciding if an auger is going to be the right choice for you, because in some areas, like if most of this, it was pretty easy digging and we were able to just go in with the auger, pull it up, set all the dirt aside, and go deeper with that auger, versus with a whole lot of rock, you may have a lot of stop and go, and it may not be worth the money and the investment and the time to rent an auger if you could just use the rock bar and get it all done that way. Other factors to take into consideration is the depth. As the augers, there are different settings and there are different depths that you can go with an auger, but sometimes if you just get a shovel, that might be good enough if you don't really have to go that deep, or a rock bar can get you there as well. We were going 30 to 36 inches on these holes. So when Josh dug out the holes by hand with a rock bar for our RV port, we were only going 2 feet deep on those holes. Because we're going 3 feet deep over here on these, that's something that we wanted to bring the auger in to take away some of that physical labor, and also it was something that was going to work with our soil type. Another thing to take into consideration if you are thinking about buying or renting an auger is how often are you going to use it and how many holes do you need to dig? Sometimes if you're only digging a few holes or it's just for a weekend as well, you may decide to forego the auger and dig it by hand, or use another option as well, like a post hole digger if it's just 1 or 2 holes. But we were dealing with 17 holes this weekend, so we thought, let's save a little bit of time, let's save our backs a little bit, and let's go ahead and go in and rent this auger. So digging these holes the way we did behind us, it's going to look different for everybody since there are a lot of different factors at play here. In our soil type, with the depths that we're going, and with our physical capacity, we would have averaged about 45 minutes per hole using a rock bar and hand digging method. With this auger, we were averaging about 5 to 10 minutes for auger dig time, and then it was also taking us about 5 minutes to clean out the holes with our hands after the auger was done with its job. Where Josh was raised down south in the desert, the only tools really that worked down there, with how dry and how hard the soil was and all the rocks, was really just using a rock bar and either using his own 2 hands, or he'd occasionally use a coffee can to scoop out that dirt that he loosened up with the rock bar. He does say that the post hole diggers don't work down there because when you go to pull out the soil, as soon as it clamps on a rock, all of the dirt just falls right through. So this was our first time trying out and using an auger in this scenario, and I think that we would definitely do this again. If you like this video, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. It really helps our channel out, and it is the best way for you to stay up to date with everything that's going on here at Reachin Reverie. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. You quit? Are you quitting on me?
You're not helping. You were supposed to swing this bar.
Okay, here, you want to hold the camera and I'll swing it?